This is the e-RAD BBS HD 1000. It's their most powerful, just kind of a mid-drive system, sort of Bafang, 8-fun resemblance going on here. But one of the things about e-RAD is that they really do a lot of custom work to adapt these to wider bottom brackets like you're seeing here, and they add a shift sensor, which you can see right here in line. And they sell them with just a whole range of battery packs and sort of throttle display options, so you can really dial your own bike in. Or they do sell some completely, sort of like semi-purpose built bikes, kind of like what you're seeing here with this Origin 8 Scout XLT. This is a pretty sweet bike, fat bike. It's got the RockShox Bluetooth on the front, so nice and comfortable, just really rugged, and a nice gear range going on. But you don't have to do it this way. You can have your own bike, you can set it up, and what you're really getting is just a motor that's super powerful. It's got really great balance because the battery is right there on the down tube, motor's right there on the bottom bracket, and you can still do quick release front and rear if you've got a bike like this that has that option, or not. It's completely up to you, but you're going to be able to hit like 35 plus miles per hour with this. So this is again 1,000 watt nominal, so it's just incredible. It's actually more of an off-road bike. It kind of defies the legal limits, at least in the US, and so they ship it at 20 mile per hour top speed, and they've done that again for legal purposes to give you a platform that you can use and sell and ride safely. But if you're someone who wants to go off-road and you've got a bike that's a little bit heavier, maybe you're a heavier person, or you want that speed, this is one option to explore. So in the past, I've reviewed some of the other e-RAD kits, and there's like the e-RAD 350, 500, or 750 BBS02 kits, right? And again, this is the BBS like HD is what they're calling it. Kind of cool. Those other motors weighed like 7 to 7.5, about 8 pounds between them. The 500 and 750, they're like 7.75 pounds because there's more copper winding. This one's 11.6, so it's a little bit bigger, definitely more copper in there, just to give you that power that we're talking about for that higher top speed. Kind of worth keeping that in mind. You are adding more weight to your bike when you do this. You want to have a frame that's going to be able to handle that, and not get out of control. The kit comes in 2 different flavors. Okay, so remember we were talking about bottom bracket width. The standard width for the BBS02 kits, it's something like 68 to 73 millimeters. So again, that's like the diameter of the width of your bottom bracket, like that. They also offer them in 86 to 92 millimeter or 100 to 110 millimeter, and that's like the fat bike standard that we're talking about. The prices go from $11.95 for the smaller 68 to 73 up to $12.95 for the wider one. So you do pay a little bit more for something like this, but you're putting it on a different platform. They have to do a lot of machine work to get it there, including on this one. You can see there's like a custom chainring adapter or spider to get this nice race face NW narrow wide chainring. Very cool. 42 teeth. They can make them a little bit smaller, a little bit larger. A little bit smaller tends to give you like more torque when you're pedaling. So good to see that. And then of course there's the battery, and what we're looking at here is like one of their biggest batteries, 48 volt, 14 amp hours. Really nice casing too, and you can see it's just held on by 2 sort of like threaded eyelets. That's because that's where the water bottle cage would have been on this bike. And I love that they actually have another water bottle cage mounting point. Again, this frame is just sort of, they just happen to put it on this because it looks cool. You could do this on your own bike. Anyway, this battery pack that we're looking at here is like $1,095. If you step it down to 11.6 amp hours, that's $895, or you step it down even more to like 8.9, that's $695. So you're going to be spending probably at least a couple $1,000s just for the kit. You're still going to need the bike, but this is like one of the most powerful, impressive kits. And I just can't say enough about the shift sensing technology, because when you have that much power and you're pulling the chain and it's pulling on the sprockets in the back and your derailleur and stuff, like you can kind of mess that stuff up. You can get some really hardcore mashing going on. It's not that pleasant. So I'm a big fan of their systems because they've refined the technology, and they're one of the few that actually have like shift sensing built right in. There's like a little wheel in here that actually physically senses that you're shifting gears. So I do love that. I think that's a pretty good kind of an introduction here. This battery pack, you can kind of see the charge port. It's got a nice little LED readout for how much how much battery power you have remaining. I like that because it is removable. It's locking, it's removable. It keeps the weight really low and sort of centered on the frame. But again, only 2 bosses right there that it's connected to. I think there are some other mounting brackets where you can connect it in more places than just those 2. And e-RAD may be doing some of their own bikes. Here's the second quick release I was talking about. So that's just the advantage of having a mid-drive. And here's sort of almost like a torque arm that goes from the bottom bracket to the motor. You can see right here, it's got these nice little fins and stuff to dissipate heat. Really cool. This is the first time I've seen the BBS HD, and again, it's cool that I'm seeing it with e-RAD because I think they do a really good job. Here's all the display stuff up top. So you've got a nice little, fairly easy to reach button pad. Hold down on the power button for a couple seconds, it comes to life. I like that you don't have to power the battery on separately. This button, I experimented with it. This is only just to give you some feedback on how full the battery is. And they do have chargers also. I think it's like 75 bucks for the charger if you need a replacement. That's one of the cool things about this system. It's all modular, so if something breaks or you need a replacement or a second one, they do sell them that way for you. So anyway, here's the display. It does sort of swivel front to back, but before I get to that, look at this. There's like a USB charger built right into the side of it. I love that because, you know, I like to ride with my music, or maybe I use my phone for GPS or whatever. Some of their older kits, some of the other second, I guess just like alternative batteries have a little USB charger port, but it's on the side a lot of times, and you got to run the wire up the frame. I love that this one's just right there where you want it. So anyway, backlit, we've got our battery level indicator here with a lot of little ticks, so it's very fine increments. It gives you a really precise idea of what you've got. Speed, miles per hour. We've got our total distance right there. We can hit this I button and change between that. So total distance, max speed, average speed, and then trip distance. So, you know, good feedback there. This one starts on level 1 by default, but they can do a lot of programming and stuff. Again, it ships at 20 mile per hour max speed. You can change all that. They leave this really open for you to do whatever you want. Okay, and then there's a light button if you had lights all set up for this. Otherwise, it's just a plus and minus for different levels of pedal assist. You can take it down to 0, and then it's throttle only. So nice throttle here. I like the trigger throttle, especially for going off-road, because you really need to hold on to the handlebars if you're navigating to, you know, as bumpy terrain. And I think a trigger throttle works really well for that. Of course, they do also have twist throttles, and then you're gonna have to play around with how you fit it and whether you need like a half grip or whatever. So keep some of those things in mind. If you're buying like a purpose-built electric bike, you don't have to think about any of that. You also don't have to think about cable management. Look at all these cables running along the frame. They've done a good job, and I think they purposely picked a black frame because the cables sort of blend in, but they're not gonna be internally routed. You're gonna have to do stuff like this with zip ties. It's not terrible. You know, here's the speed sensor with the magnet. It's just, it's extra, you know, and if you're thinking about converting a bike, keep that in mind, because you're gonna have to go through some of that. And we've got our 5 levels of assist, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of course, 5 is the highest. It's gonna give you the most power, but it's gonna drain your battery more quickly as well. And of course, throttle is gonna drain it the fastest. Pedal assist is gonna be a little bit better. It's kind of a cadence sensing system, which works pretty well. You know, I think that in terms of aftermarket mid-drive systems, the BBS02 that I reviewed before was pretty great. I think they're using similar technology here. It's not as advanced as like the Bosch system, right? And now there's the Yamaha system, and we've even had like the Impulse system that they measure like your torque and your speed and your cadence. There's a lot more going on, and they have like software integrated shift detection, whereas this is more hardware. I love that they've got it. I think it works pretty well, but it's not quite as smooth and instantaneous. There's a little bit more of a just kind of like a powerful kind of kick in sort of a feeling. But they're getting there, and this is probably the best solution I know of that's available aftermarket. So that might be enough talk. I should probably just get on this thing. I'm gonna try to be careful because it's quite powerful. You can really get crazy on this thing. I'm just gonna start off pedal assist. Notice there's a little bit of a delay there, and maybe not even a little bit, there's definitely a delay going on. It's a larger chain ring happening than something like the Bosch system. So, you know, keep that in mind. One of the things we've got up here with the brake levers is a motor inhibitor. So if I do want to stop that motor more quickly, I can just pull the brakes and it's going to happen for me instantaneously. Definitely a good safety feature for a bike that's more powerful like this. So love that. I've always been impressed with their shift sensing technology. It just kills the motor, you know, gives you enough time for that gear to kind of trip over to the next one without, you know, doing a lot of mashing and stuff. There was a little bit of chink chink, you know, a couple times, but for the most part, it worked really well. And then, you know, being able to leverage that cassette, I think that one had like 10 gears. Just being able to go to a higher gear to hit those higher top speeds, or a lower gear to do some climbing and have it really be punchy. Really great feeling. It's you know, yeah, it's nice to have that extra feature, definitely. Really getting us up to some of those high speeds. We're like 25 miles per hour there. No problem. You can probably hear the wind in the background. Hey, what's up? So, we got a friend in the background here. I'm at Interbike 2015. So anyway, for the full ride up on this, it's a BBS HD, available from e-RAD. That's their 1,000-watt system. Very powerful, very fast, and you know, really satisfying. Like, definitely one of the better aftermarket mid-drive kits that I've seen. For the full write up on this and all of their other different kits and stuff, I'll see you back at ElectricBikeReview.com, and especially with a bike like this, ride safe.